We're back at Capital Casino, buying into the 1-3 game for $500. First interesting hand comes 30 minutes into my session. I pick up 2 9s on the button. There were a couple limpers, so I raise to $20. I get called by the 2 limpers, and we're going to go 3 ways to this flop with $64 in the center. Flop comes out, Jack 8-7 with 2 hearts. This particular flop probably hits my opponent's ranges better than mine, but when they both check to me, I'm thinking that maybe they don't have a jack at this point, and therefore I'm going to put in a bet for $40. The first limper ends up folding, and now it's to the second limper, and he finds the call. Basically looking for a blank on the turn, but that's not what we get when we see the 8 of spades. It pairs the second card, which is quite possibly smack dab in the center of his range, and it puts a second flush draw up. I decided to check it just because I want to control the pot, and we see a 3 of diamonds on the end. He leads out for all his blue chips. Usually this is a sign of weakness. I don't know this player. He doesn't have much behind. I was considering jamming on him, but I figured I'm only going to get called by something better. So I put in the call. He shows over King 7 suited, so he flopped bottom pair and turned his hand into a bluff, unless that was for value. About a half hour later, we look down at Ace King from the +1 position, open for a raise to 15. Player on my direct left decides to make it $40 now. Everybody else ends up folding out, and it's back to me. He has about $200 left in his stack, and I got a very strong hand, so I'm just going to end up going with this. So I put in a raise. I make it $120. As soon as I do that, he snap jams for his $200. Of course, I snap call, and we're going to be off to see a run out.
Take 5 from the winner.
Ace.
Got it.
Baby, baby, baby.
Yes.
Woo!
Yes.
Jackpot.
Yeah.
I actually thought it was more likely that he had pocket queens. He really had me dead to rights there with a pair of kings. Happened to catch the beautiful flop, and we both are very pleased. I'm very happy for my opponent, who is getting the large end of the bad Beat Jackpot. He's a regular, really nice guy. Play with him all the time, and if someone deserves to win a jackpot, it's him.
All right. Great dealer. That's good.
The rest of the table also gets a little piece of the action. They ended up with like $400 a person. The bad beat loser got $2,400, and I myself got about $1,200. Of course, everybody loves the extra money, but I do not consider it a poker win. I consider it something else. So it doesn't go into my results of my poker's wins and losses. But I do happen to tip out of the stack that I have, and I took care of the staff and floor people. Well, it's normal for when someone hits a jackpot, a few people leave, but we got about half the table still here. I look down at Ace King after several limpers, and I raise it up to $20. I end up getting 3 callers for the $20. So we're going to go 4 ways to a flop with $84 in the center. Flop is good. It comes king high with a queen and a 5. There's a rainbow board, so no real flush draws out there. Might be a few straight draws. It gets checked around to me. $84 in the center. I'm going to go for about half pot. I make it $45. It gets folded around to the player to my right, and he decides he's going to be calling for the $45. Not quite sure what he might have here, but when the turn card comes as a 3 of hearts, it looks like a complete blank to me, and he decides to shove all in. It caught me by a little bit of a surprise. Didn't think he would shove here. I mean, what could he have? Could he have like king, queen? Well, that's the only guy I could think of. I can't think of any other 2-pair type of hands. Maybe he thinks his king is good. Well, we're going to find out, because there's no way I'm folding with this turn card in that bet. And he is all in. He might be just taking a stand with a weak king. So I put in the call. We see a river card of a 6 of clubs, another complete blank. He shows over queen 4 of hearts, so he turned his second pair and a flush draw, and he decided to go with it. Lucky for me, he didn't get there. There's a $6 straddle on this, and it's folded to me on the button. I got 9-10 suited. I decided to raise to $25. Player in the big blind is someone who likes to battle, and he puts out a raise to $65. He could be doing this with a lot of hands that have me crushed, but I have a sense that he is just ready to make a play on me. The previous hand, it was a small pot, and he played it a little passively and didn't try to bluff at it, and ended up winning it with a weak hand. So we see a flop that comes out ace, ace, 9. Not bad. I mean, if he has an ace, I'm toast. And most likely he's going to put out a small C bet here, and he does for $30. I think that's pretty much standard. He might go a little bit bigger if he actually had an ace. This might be like a feeler bet. I think the only thing I can do here is call. Turn card comes as a 10 of spades. It puts up a backdoor flush draw. And I don't really like this card too much, even though it improves my actual hand. He now bets for $110. So all his overpairs to the 10 have me beat. All his 10s with a decent kicker have me beat. But I still feel like he's out on a limb. And so I put in the call. River card comes as 8 of diamonds. Now all those queen jacks make a straight. It's not ideal. He decides to check it to me. I don't think I can get value from anything at this point. I think I'm just got to take my showdown value and hope for the best. He rolls over 8-7 offsuit. He was definitely making a play, picked up a straight draw, and continued on the turn. Ended up going card dead after that last hand and played for about another 2 hours with just absolutely nothing happening. Came back a different day, same table, same seat. Here we go. I got Jack 10 suited in the hijack. There is a straddle on this pot, a $7 straddle. It's folded to me. I make it $25. I get 2 callers, one from the big blind and one from the straddler. So 3 of us are seeing the flop with $76 in the center. Dealer puts up a flop of queen, jack, 7 with 2 diamonds, 1 spade. So I got second pair, backdoor flush draw and straight draw. Both players checked it to me. I figured this is a good hand to check back. Turn card comes as a deuce of diamonds. Not very good, but both players end up checking to me again. I think the likelihood that they have a flush is pretty low and that my jack is probably good. So I'm going to go ahead and bet for $50. See if I can get some folds out of random diamonds here. My jack is probably best at this point, but if they have, say, a queen or something like that, they can't be too excited about it at this point, so I don't think they'll be playing back at me. Anyway, the straddler puts in the call, and we see a river card of a 10 of hearts. That's a great river card. I can hopefully get a little extra value. Player checks it over to me, and I'm just thinking about sizing. I decided to go small because I didn't think they had very much. But thinking back on this, I probably should just put out a standard size and make it look like maybe I missed a flush draw or something. Anyway, they call rather quickly. I tell them I have 2 pair, roll it over, and it's good. All right, this table decided to play a $10 bomb pot. We have 8 players participating, and I happen to be in the undergun position. I have 9-7 of diamonds. The flop comes out king, jack, 8 with the king, jack of diamonds. I ended up checking. The player to my direct left puts out a bet for $15. Pretty small bet into a $80 bomb pot. He does get raised by a player in the low jack to $50, and it's folded back around to me. Here, I can easily just let this go. I might be up against a bigger flush draw. And I really hate bomb pots because you never know where anybody's at. But with a flush draw and a straight draw, I decided to make a loose call in my book for $50. Player on my left also thinks for a while before he decides to complete his initial $15 bet and makes the call for the $50. So it's going to be 3 of us heading off to a turn card, which comes out a complete blank of a 3 of hearts. I'm basically done with the hand unless I get a free card. I check it. It gets checked to my opponent to my left. He quickly checks, and the other player puts in a all-in bet for $215. Naturally, I am toast here, and there's nothing to do but fold. I'm not really getting direct odds to draw to my hand, and the only implied odds if the person behind me calls. But let's look at this. He might actually have a bigger flush draw than me, and then I'm just drawing to a 10, and that would be really, really bad. So even though I have officially 12 outs to make a hand that beats, say, 2-pair or trips, I'm not really too excited about putting my hard-earned money into the pot with those kind of odds. My opponent to my left starts talking about his hand, and he mentions that he has 12 outs also, so he probably has the same kind of draw that I had. His is a little better. It's the ace-10 of diamonds. He calls. The brick of a king of hearts comes on the end. The other player shows jack-8 offsuit and takes it down. A little while later, we had a player raised to $20. I got king-jack suited in the low jack. You can 3-bet this sometimes, but he's been playing fairly snug, so I decided just to call, and we get one more player putting in the call. Anyway, the flop comes out ace-ace-king with 2 clubs and a spade. Kind of a dangerous flop. I do got the king with a decent kicker, but if anyone has an ace, I decided to check this back after it's checked to me. Turn card comes as a 10 of spades. Now I pick up a royal draw. And at Capital Casino, they do have a bonus for hitting a royal. So when it's checked to me again, I'm going to check it back, see if I can hit that royal for free. But I miss. It's the 4 diamonds. It's checked to the player on my right again. This time he decides to bet out. So he might have been slow playing an ace all this while and hoping someone would bet it for him. But he bets small. Only $25. So this is a really easy call. We put in some pressure in there by betting like $80 or $100 or something like that. It would definitely make it hard for me to call. But for this sizing, there's really nothing I can do. I put in the call, he mucks his hand, and we win a small one. In this case, I'm in the big blind with 6-5 suited. There were 3 people that limped in, and then a player raised to 18. Well, for $18 with that many limpers, and I got a 6-5 suited that plays well against a raiser's hand, I'm going to put in the call. And I think everyone else wanted to call also. So all 3 limpers end up putting in the call for the 18. So we're going to go 5 ways to this flop with $90 in the center. Flop comes out Queen 7-4 with 2 hearts, no spades, but we do flop an open ender. Of course, I'm going to check to the action, and everyone checked around to the raiser from the button, who puts out a bet for $40. There's some debate here whether I should go for like a check raise and see if he has a queen, but the other players might be checking something fairly strong. So I think it'll be quite dangerous to do that with 3 players behind me. So I put out the call for the $40. All the other players end up folding, so I'm going to be heads up with the player on the button, who's a pretty good solid reg. Turn card comes as ace of diamonds. There are a lot of different things you can do with this card. I mean, you can actually donk lead into the player and find out whether they have an ace or not. You can just check call, but if they bet big, you're not getting the right odds. Or you can go ahead and try for a little check raise. They might bet a weak hand, say maybe a queen jack or something like that. And if you check raise, they're going to probably have to end up dumping it. So I decided to go for the old check raise with this, with my draw, and he quickly checks it back. So I think he's afraid of the ace, but I was going to end up bluffing on this river, but I guess I don't have to bluff when I make the nuts on the river. So now it's just about putting out a bet. I go, well, if I was bluffing, I would bet this amount, and so that's the same amount I'm going to be betting when I actually have it. So I make it $110. He doesn't think too long before mucking, saying that he really didn't have too much at all. Didn't get that many interesting hands this week, but you know, the ones we got, I hope you enjoyed. We are going to be on the road next weekend. Yes, I'm going to Texas, Austin, Texas, well, officially Round Rock, where I'm going to be playing on the live stream at the lodge, It's going to be a 5-10 with a $10 big blind ante. It plays very large, more like a 10-20 game, which will be the biggest game I've ever played, at least no limit wise. So I don't plan on putting out a vlog next weekend because, hey, I'm going to be on the road and I'm going to be concentrating on this particular game. The live stream starts at 3 p.m. Texas time or 1 p.m. if you're in California. So hopefully you can tune in and watch. I will be doing a vlog about this particular experience of mine, and that will be for the following week. Also, if you want to contact me while I'm on this trip, the best way to do it is to actually contact me through my Instagram account. Here it is. I don't post very much, but I probably will end up posting more since I'm going to be on the road and I'm not going to be making a vlog. So that saves 8 hours of my day for doing other stuff. Thanks for watching, guys. I really do appreciate your support. If you guys have a chance to see the live stream, please do so. And don't forget to support me in the chat. And until next time, good luck at the tables, and we'll see you back here soon.